Alia actually swept most of the popular awards that year for Gangubai Kathiawadi, and a lot of people praised Mimi's criticism and Mimi for her moving performance. So they actually have rewarded both, but criticism and announcement really came as a surprise to a lot of people. Alia Bhatt, the internet was buzzing with Alia Bhatt could be the big winner.
Yes.
This year.
Yes, and also Vishal, the fact that Rocketry has bagged the best film. We are talking still at a time when Chandrayaan-3 has made a soft landing on the moon, giving India that much needed impetus as far as space exploration is concerned. That is also poetic justice. I'm sure Madhavan will be a happy man. Can we juxtapose the two things, the two good news together?
Actually, yeah, and I think the award must have been decided at least 2-3 days ago. That's why we didn't see Rocketry sweeping the award. But like you said, a very deserving award for R. Madhavan. It's very empowering for cinema to reflect stories which are real and inspiring in nature.
Also, one important aspect is Gangubai Kathiawadi winning a lot of awards, Vishal. Of course, we are yet waiting to actually get in a word from the stable of Sanjay Leela Bhansali and Alia Bhatt for that matter. I'm sure Alia Bhatt, her husband Ranbir Kapoor, will be a happy couple today. Alia always never fails to mention her husband today. But what are we expecting as far as the big wigs of the film industry are concerned? Popular awards going to them. Alia Bhatt becoming the toast to the town, considering she has got so many films in this year that she's become a mother, including a Hollywood venture, and now one of the biggest recognitions in the name of a national award for Gangubai Kathiawadi.
Well, Alia is one of the finest actresses we have today in the country, and she has proven time and again, be it in Gangubai Kathiawadi or in Rocky Rani, where she was partly slammed for being a mother and having some weight been shown to her character. But Alia is one of the finest actors. But it's a clean sweep. Also, I want to mention Sher Shah, acknowledging and giving an award to Sher Shah also is something very good. It's a very credible award.
Yes.
This is really a badge of honor for every actor. So congratulations to Alia, and Alia is one of the finest actors. Each of her performance is a textbook, so to say. Be it Highway, be it Udta Punjab,
absolutely,
or Gangubai Kathiawadi.
Absolutely,
she's just been outdoing herself. So congratulations to Alia, and really hope next year's award will be more surprising.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Vishal. And Vishal there making that point. Alia Bhatt is in fact going from one laurel to the next, and the kind of film choices that she is making in fact has been winning her that kind of accolade. And this time the feather in the cap is in the name of her very first National Film Award for the Sanjay Leela Bhansali directorial Gangubai Kathiawadi. Among the other big winners, of course, Allu Arjun for Pushpa. He has dominated the entire 2022-23 because of his film, and of course Kriti Sanon for her heart-wrenching performance in her film Mimi. That also in fact has bagged her the Best Actress Award. We'll of course get you more inputs from the National Film Awards announcement, and also who gets to get the Dada Sahab Phalke Award this year. But right now it's time for Viewpoint. Good evening and a warm welcome. I'm Griha Atul and you're watching Viewpoint. As India made history on August 23rd by achieving a soft landing on the lunar South Pole and became the first ever country to moonwalk on its southern surface, political leaders cutting across party lines lauded the scientific community. The BJP linked the feat to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership, and the Congress recalled Jawaharlal Nehru's vision and said that the achievement of Chandrayaan-3 is a tale of continuity. In fact, even as Chandrayaan-3 was on the cusp of creating history, attempting that soft landing on the moon, a credit war had started to erupt between the Congress and the BJP over the advancements in the country's space technology during their respective tenures. What started with the Congress posting a photo of the moon, recalling India's first moon mission, Chandrayaan-1, with a note stating how the mission was successfully launched on October 22nd, 2008 from Sriharikota under the leadership of the then Prime Minister, Mr. Manmohan Singh, further going on to laud India's first Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's vision and scientific temper, something that was carried on by all the later Prime Ministers as well. That, in fact, ended with responses from the likes of BJP's IT cell head Amit Malviya, who went on to claim that India has made strides in space endeavours under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi alone in the last 9 years. This was enough to get the battle lines all drawn up and barbs being exchanged thick and fast, probably taking a page out of Sonia Gandhi's book, who wrote to the ISRO chief, Mr. S. Somnath, acknowledging his organization's magnificent achievement would have been more becoming.
लैंडर मॉड्यूल पूरी तरह से सेफली और सॉफ्टली चंद्रमा की सतह पे लैंड हो चुका है।
People are applauding. Let us all wait to hear.
चंद्रयान-3 की सफलता प्रत्येक भारतीय की सामूहिक सफलता है। ये उपलब्धियां पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू के विजन का प्रमाण है। भारत के अन्य प्रधानमंत्रियों ने भी इस भावना को आगे बढ़ाया।
47 अंतरिक्ष मिशन श्री नरेंद्र मोदी की सरकार ने 9 सालों में लॉन्च किए। इतने मिशन किसी भी सरकार ने लॉन्च नहीं हुए। यह यूपीए की सरकार में लॉन्च मिशन की संख्या से दुगना है।
Opening this up for my panel this evening, Anila Singh of the Bharatiya Janata Party is with us. George Kurian, who is supportive of the Congress Party, is with us. Remember, the Congress Party has not been joining us on this debate, considering they are the ones who started this entire conundrum, but now they are deciding to stay away. It beats me completely, but we'll have to wait and watch what is the kind of response that we are getting from them and also from George Kurian. Also, Mr. K. Siddhartha, who's a scientist, is with us, and also with us is Arun Anand, consulting editor, First Post. Anila, I'll begin with you since you're the only lady on the panel. Let's me actually, go on with ladies first, as is the custom. Want to understand that there was a Twitter post that was put out by the Congress Party that went on to not just laud the scientific community, also India's space exploration in the name of Chandrayaan-3, the latest one, and then went on to acknowledge the first Prime Minister of the country. Why did BJP have to jump the gun and say that it's only under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's regime that India has achieved so much?
My Ram Ram to all, and if we talk about any success in the nation, whether the success is connected to the space or the defense or the industry, say our name, any success, definitely it is political. And why I say so? I say so because when the team or an organization or an office works for something, then definitely political blessings are required in the form of budget. So if we talk about the budget, so we very well know that whether it was UPA or earlier times, how the Congress has behaved for any mission which has to be launched for the space. It is very step motherly treatment by the Congress for the space research or any sort of progress. So in today's date, when the budget is more than double since 2014, and we can see the wonderful work, and the Chandrayaan-1 was started during the tenure of Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, and since Modi ji became the Prime Minister of this nation, so much of achievement has been there in this field. So why shouldn't we say that the new leap has been taken by the space research in our nation since Modi ji has become the PM? If they are going to talk like this, oh, हमारे time पे तो ऐसा ऐसा हुआ था, अब भूल नहीं जा रहे हो, नेहरू जी के time पे ऐसा ऐसा हुआ था, then we have to show them the mirror. Boss, you must understand this thing, that what has happened under the tenureship, Prime Minister tenureship of Narendra Modi ji.
Okay.
And how we are working, and how in a day's time, like so many satellites are launched. And in today's date, I'm so proud our country is the only nation which has landed on moon on this part. South Pole one.
But Anila, if you are so proud, you also began with answering my question by saying that any kind of achievement that the country has made in so many years of its independence has only been political. Doesn't that discount from the credentials of the scientists, all the senior ones who have been involved for so many years in achieving this moon mission for the country?
No, why I said so? Because immediately I said it is political because the budget allocation has to be done by the government, the ruling government. That is why it is political.
Okay. I would get Mr. K. Siddhartha to respond to the budget allocation point that Anila has been making. Mr. Siddhartha, I know as a scientist you'd want to stay away from politics. Unfortunately, it has become so political and it's become into a battleground as to which political party deserves the credit for India's moon mission or for space explorations. First of all, do you agree with the claims that the BJP spokesperson is making that under the UPA regime, the budgetary allocation was not apt for India's space explorations or for that matter, the moon mission? Chandrayaan-1?
See, politics is a game of perception. And how is it that perceptions and narratives are played? This can be anyone's guess, particularly anyone from media like you. You can always go to make it so. But we're going to make it go to the basics and make it very, very simple. Every government wanted that India should go on to achieve something in space. It was only the intent of the person, intent of the government to an extent, whatever that you can go to call it. And the way certain things have been cobbled together, they have been coalesced together, they have been fused together, and so on. Now, for the last so many of these years, any achievement that we have made, that have been basically by the scientists. But you also know that we lost 195 scientists, not by a natural death. They were killed. You know that much better. So this is one part that can go on to be discounted from any type of credit from anyone. Now, from 2014 onwards, there has been a shift in the science policy, in the space policy, and fortunately, that has started bearing some type of a result. Even before that, there were certain things that were happening, and they were happening almost every day. As far as technologies has been concerned, ISRO has been always trying to do it so. But imagine cryogenic engine. Now, if India wants any type of a technology, it won't undergo a phase of arm twisting like it happened with cryogenic engine. Because in cryogenic engine, India was literally arm twisted. And not only that, some of the scientists who were trying to develop it, you know what had happened, and also how is it that some of the governments protected them as well, the culprits. Now, it is only now that we happen to know what was the truth. Now, because of the shift, this shift has taken place from three angles. That is what is remarkable. The first is technology. The second is the zeal. And the third part is the international cooperation. Chandrayaan wouldn't have been successful had European Space Agency not cooperated with it, had Britain not cooperated with it, had United States not cooperated, had failures as well. So, in all, the combination of scientists along with the policymakers who never actually dissuaded the scientists not to do anything. That is number one. And to cap it all...
But did the dissuading come in the earlier UPA regime is what I'm asking you, Mr. Siddhartha. Are you making that claim that during the UPA regime, that assistance that was much required by the people in governance was not given to the scientists? Because this worst point that you mentioned, zeal, that has never been missing as far as the scientific community of the country is concerned.
Well, see, this is something that can be debated. And to put myself in that bracket, whether it was to an extent desired or not, that can go on to put a lot of debate on that part. What we are only talking about is that the degree of cooperation that was required, the degree of international cooperation, financial cooperation, technical cooperation, and the zeal that was going to be required. In this case, the government has focused itself completely onto science, onto economy, and you see how is it that the international stature of India has grown. We are not being arm twisted. But of course, some time back, we were being arm twisted. Now, you can always go to say that there were reasons for it and so on and so forth. We don't want to drag ourselves into those aspects.
Okay.
But all in all, it has been a credit of the scientists. That is the way they have been doing the work.
Okay,
The
but you're
way they
still
have been
touching upon
researching.
it, Mr. Siddharth. Let me actually bring in George Kurian. George, first of all, would you like to respond to the claims of a scientist that has been made on a Viewpoint today, and then probably respond to the claims that Anila is making, considering Congress was the first one to jump the gun and put out that tweet and give every Indian a history lesson as if they had forgotten it? What was the need to do that?
Well, Graha, very good evening to you and my co-panelists on the show and to your audience. Let me begin by saying, let me congratulate Team ISRO and its chief, Mr. Somnath, for his leadership skills and, getting India on the moon. So it's a heartiest congratulations from the Congress side. Let me also put it forward that India, being the fourth nation to accomplish this feat, preceded by US, Russia, and China. But the lunar South Pole is a territory even these countries have not explored past. So that is one thing that is exceptional. India's journey to the moon and into the space is truly a strong story of pride and grit and determination and far-sightedness. And let me come back to BJP spokesperson on the panel, Ms. Anila Singh. I respectfully disagree to her statement that during UPA's era and the Congress regime that ISRO was given stepmotherly treatment. That's not true. As far as the budget allocation was concerned, with respect to space, also equal amount of respect and funds were allocated for the space mission. Let me also, we cannot ignore the fact that it was independent India's first Prime Minister, Mr. Nehru's, Foundation for Space Research and Exploration. He spoke about the scientific temperament back in 1946 and also back in 1960.
George, we got that from the Congress tweet. My question to you is that if you are acknowledging the first Prime Minister of the country to have that scientific temperament, why not also acknowledge, let's say, the other Prime Minister, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, under whose regime and leadership did that entire plan to get in India's first moon mission, Chandrayaan-1, was drawn. It obviously eventually took so many years that it was undertaken under Manmohan Singh. But why not acknowledge Mr. Vajpayee as well?
Well, it goes without saying. There is no doubt that the current BJP-led government, led by Mr. Modi, we are not disagreeing or disregarding his contribution towards space research. It doesn't go. So I totally agree that continuing the legacy forward, the government of India has been giving their allocated funds to ISRO and for the space research organization to explore various domains. So I truly believe that the contribution from Indian government is also acknowledgeable and appreciable.
Absolutely. All right, let me actually bring in Arun Anand, who's been patiently waiting for his turn. Arun, first of all, what do you make of this discourse, where it has gone down to? On the one hand, we are yet not tired of, lauding the country, the achievement that it has made in the name of Chandrayaan-3, landing on the South Pole of the moon, never before done by anyone in the world. India is the only country to have done that. It has also joined the elite list of 3 other countries to actually land safely on the moon, a soft landing. And yet, what is happening back home is political bickering.
I think in run-up to 2024 elections, and this is, one can expect these kind of things. Because now we are in run-up to the general elections and also the elections of 3 more states, 3 big states actually.
Yeah, but isn't it sad?
So it's expected, one. Second thing is that I also want to address this question, but the Congress actually started it. And I also want to address this question, the logic which they have taken, that Nehru laid the foundation. It's a very inverted kind of logic. It means that, if India won the 1983 World Cup, the credit should go to the Britishers because they had laid down the foundation of cricket in India. It's also similarly, like when Indira Gandhi conducted the nuclear tests, the credit went to her. When in 1971, when she won the Bangladesh war, the credit went to her, not to the Britishers who had laid down the foundation of Indian Army. So this is a very inverted kind of logic. What has happened? Yes, there is a continuity in the policy, but what Narendra Modi government has done is they have upped the game. And this is evident from, I was listening, the exact increase in the budget of this thing is about 123%. prior to 2014, only 35 foreign satellites were launched from Indian soil. During the last 9 years, 389 satellites have been launched. And the biggest thing which we are not discussing, which generally the media is also not discussing, is Narendra Modi government has done a human service to India's space sector by opening it up to the private sector.
Yes.
Since then, 120 startups have come and they have played a many of them have played a significant role in both this thing, Chandrayaan, especially in Chandrayaan-3. And in fact, one of the guys was interviewed at your channel also yesterday. Their team had played an important role in designing the Pragyan rover. So this is what. So he has upped the game, and see, any party which is in power is likely to get credit for any such thing which happens. So I think Congress should have been more magnanimous, and the kind of seriousness that we see in opposition about this thing. You have a chief minister who is talking about Rakesh Roshan, talking from space. She mentioned in a statement yesterday that Rakesh Roshan went to the space. And from there, when Indira Gandhi asked her, and she actually said that he went to moon, though he had not gone to moon, he had gone to space. Yeah. And Rakesh Roshan is a Bollywood actor, Rakesh Roshan. So this is a kind of seriousness with which you are addressing this thing. So I think it's ironic. I think Congress should have shown more magnanimity, and Nehru doesn't need endorsement. What Nehru has done for the country, there are a lot of bad things also which happened, and because of which we are suffering, but there are a lot of good things also which he did.
I totally agree to the point that you're making, Arun, but just adding, and I wanted to understand this one aspect in this claim that you made. Of course, he has, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has brought in a lot of private endorsement. Also, Mr. Siddhartha was mentioning about how there is a lot of more of international cooperation that is also really, giving that fuel to the space exploration fire that India, of course, is now venturing into. But when we talk about technological advancement, experimentation, all of that will come over the years. When Vikram Sarabhai launched the first rocket in space way back under Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, that achievement also was the first novel one. And we will, of course, keep going back to you. And that's why the lander of Chandrayaan-3 has been named after the father of ISRO, Dr. Vikram Sarabhai. So don't you think that aspect also needs to be taken into consideration?
You're absolutely right, Riya. The credit for this whole thing, primarily the credit goes to the scientific community, the community of the scientists who have done it. But now what has happened that somebody, started this thing that trying to take credit for Nehru. And then obviously there is going to be a counter response to that. And some other opposition parties also, it's like they started saying that the credit should go to the all the political parties or all the governments. This debate was never there. The ruling party had not started this debate. Nobody from the ruling party had said this. This debate was started by the opposition, and BJP I think was compelled to react because the reality is also that we are in a run-up to the elections. Okay. So every statement is going to meet to have a counter set. And a last thing, but I want to say, Reha, is, and I'll say it in Hindi because that can be explained well only in Hindi. Okay. हमारे यहाँ पे दिक्कत ये है कि हम अपने जो ऐतिहासिक व्यक्तित्व हैं उनको या तो भगवान की कैटेगरी में रखते हैं या शैतान की कैटेगरी में रखते हैं। उनको आप इंसानों की कैटेगरी में रखिए, उन्होंने कुछ अच्छे काम किए होंगे, उन्होंने कुछ खराब काम किए होंगे, तो हर चीज का क्रेडिट या हर चीज का डिस्क्रेडिट जो है वो नेहरू को करने की जरूरत नहीं है। So I think that is how we need to look at. The political parties also need to change their perspective. And I'll just give you a small example. In Britain, Winston Churchill made Britain won the Second World War. They were losing it. But if you look at, the kind of criticism and the number of books which have been published, और आप हमारे यहाँ पे किसी ऐतिहासिक व्यक्तित्व के बारे में आप क्रिटिसाइज करके देख लीजिए. So that is. This perspective is missing basically. Okay. So
George Kurian wants to come in. George Kurian, to add to the point that you are going to make, there is a Gen Z term called FOMO. The way Congress party is responding to this, seeking credit, dating it back to Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, all of this, is it a fear of missing out from the laurels that the country is achieving under Prime Minister Narendra Modi?
Well, Griha, one needs to understand here, it's not the Congress party who is trying to seek credit for the entire mission here. It's only that, we have to understand and take into account the ISRO over the years, over six decades, has progressed over the years. So space is something, which is we are keep exploring. And so had it been in 2014, if ISRO would have been, formed, I'm sure we wouldn't have been able to, get to this mark at this point in time. So
Yes.
we have to equally give the credit to the, the previous government in the past for, getting, exploring the space development thing. And so that's why we are saying that, equal credit has to be given, because it's only over the years that, the Space Research Organization has grown.
Yes, I just said that. I made that point. Okay, let me actually bring in Anila Singh. Anila, counter question to you now is, what is wrong if the first Prime Minister of the country is acknowledged?
The other thing is, nobody is ignoring him. And at least Nehruji cannot be ignored, because during his tenureship of Prime Ministership, he has made mega mistakes for this nation. So he can never ever be forgotten by this nation. At least we will make sure that every day he is remembered. And we will remember him for all the wrongdoings he did with the nation. And secondly, if I talk about today's achievement, I mean, we do not have words to express that how proud we feel about our scientists. No doubts about it. And we congratulate our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, who has given, he has opened the door to the scientists. आप जाइए, आपको पैसा चाहिए, पैसा लीजिए.
Absolutely, Anila, and we have been discussing that during the course of this debate, but I'm reiterating the question that I asked you. Why not acknowledge Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of the country? Why make this attempt to diss everything that has been achieved under the UPA regime and only cater to what has been achieved under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership? Because that was the kind of retaliation that came in from Amit Malviya's tweet, where he said, whatever was done in the UPA regime is kept aside. Every achievement has been lauded and associated with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Why do that? Why make it that combative?
No, we didn't start it. Congress started it.
No, but Congress has mentioned, and each and every reaction that we played out, and I'm not here trying to bat for the Congress party, but what has come out in the open, each and every reaction did speak about, yes, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, but all the other prime ministers of the country. They have made it politically correct.
See, I just want to say one thing.
Yes.
We are very proud of our scientists, whether they worked under the Prime Minister tenureship of Jawaharlal Nehru ji or in today's date, Narendra Modi ji. Absolutely. I mean, these scientists, they are not politically associated. They simply work for their research. They work for the nation. They want achievements. Definitely. But if Congress party will start something and they will try to show that it is nothing, कुछ ज़्यादा बड़ा थोड़ी ना किया, हम लोगों ने शुरू कर दिया था, तो then we have to show them the mirror. And imagine this Ghamandiya Gadbandhan of dotted INDIA, Nitish Kumar ji, like he didn't know anything about this Chandrayaan mission. As mentioned by Anand ji, like Mamta Didi, she was saying Rakesh Roshan instead of Rakesh Sharma. I mean, this is the type of one of the spokespersons from RJD. Well,
Ananda, you also know we are living in the day and age of social media. Every other slip of tongue is being made into a meme. So you have to give it to the people. But I would get in a last word from Mr. Siddhartha. He's the scientist from that community. Mr. Siddhartha, do you see all of this that is happening right now? Does it take away the sheen from Chandrayaan-3, the successful moon mission that India has achieved? Do you feel saddened at some part of your heart? Mr. Siddharth, are you able to hear me? All right, I don't think we have that link through with Mr. Siddharth, but I'd like to thank Arun for joining us. Of course, Anila and George Kurian will be with us through the course of this show, where we are going to be debating the other aspect that we are looking at, and that is Mr. Aiyar's remark against the former Prime Minister, Mr. Narasimha Rao. But right now, we are getting some breaking news on Viewpoint. We are beginning to understand that All India Muslim Personal Law Board has met with the Law Commission. It has in fact called UCC absolutely unacceptable. In fact, the Muslim board has alleged that the Uniform Civil Code will only end up targeting the Muslims. A huge statement there coming in from the All India Muslim Personal Law Board. My colleague Ananya is joining us for all the details. Ananya, just take us through the nitty-gritties that were involved in the discussion with the Law Commission of the Muslim Personal Law Board, and the fact that they claim that this is only an attempt to target the Muslims. How are they backing these claims?
Well, Griha, what the UCC debate is all around, and in fact now after the President Murmu's, comment on Uniform Civil Code, today a meeting was held by the All India Muslim Personal Law Board with the Law Commission of India. And in fact, in this meeting, if you remember, that the Law Commission had said that post, the public comments were closed, there would be meetings that would be held with various stakeholders. All India Muslim Personal Law Board being one of them, met with the Commission today and in fact said that, this is something that is against the Muslims, and Muslims would be targeted only if a Uniform Civil Code comes in. Another big point that they've actually raised in this debate and has questioned the Law Commission is that if tribals and the Christians from the northeastern states are being exempted from the Uniform Civil Code, why is it that the Muslims are not being excluded, and why they are actually being included into a Uniform Civil Code, and this will be against them, is what the constant tone of the All India Muslim Personal Law Board had been. Even while it was submitting its public comments, it had said that it would be a hit to the Islamic laws, it would be a hit to the Sharia, and specifically certain provisions including that of a minimum age of marriage for women, which had remained a contention from a very long time. In fact, there would have been also clashes in the courts with regards to special provisions like the POXO overruling in such cases. So definitely, what would be the outcome? What would be the proposed UCC draft that in fact the government brings in, something that is important, but at the same point of time, the Muslim Personal Law Board completely coming against it. How does it play up is something that we'll have to wait and watch for.
All right, Ananya, thank you so much. At least the Muslim side does have a point when they say that why exempt the tribals and the Christians from this. And if that benchmark is being used on a certain community, why are Muslims being kept away from it? Let's see what is the kind of response that this story generates. Meanwhile, we're slipping into a very short break on Viewpoint. Shankar Aiyar slams ex-Prime Minister PV Narasimha Rao. He's ended up calling him the first BJP Prime Minister, and now there is a political war over it. We're discussing that on the other side of this very short break.
Much attention has been paid in the last few weeks to the fact that there are a number of new young chess players in India that there's a lot of hope about. What is this going to mean for them, for the chess ecosystem? What are the takeaways?
Yeah, so you've got Gukesh, who's the #1 Indian chess player right now. He's higher ranked than even Vishy Anand. There's obviously Arjun and also Vidit, who were part of the quarterfinals along with Pragyan at this event. So this event, why it caught everybody's imagination and why it got so much coverage is because there were 4 Indians in the quarterfinals, and 2 of them, Pragyan had met Arjun, one of them in the quarterfinals as well. So 4 Indians in the quarterfinals of the World Cup in itself was a big thing to look forward to. We were guaranteed that one of them will make it to the semi-final. That was Pragyan, breaking Vishy's record, and then he progressed to the final as well. So as Vishy actually, in fact, in that conversation told us, he termed it the golden generation of Indian tennis. So he feels the future of Indian chess, and he feels the future of Indian chess is extremely good because, the last time Vishy Anand was the world champion was in 2012. He lost his title, interestingly, to Magnus Carlsen in 2013. So obviously Magnus has been a thorn in many Indians' backside, but Magnus is what he is for a reason. So, from then to now, we've got many talents that are doing extremely well. Pragyananda's ranking and rating both is expected to rise, and especially for this 18-year-old.
Sachdev is also with us right now. Would you like to talk to her?
Yes, let me go across to Tanya Sachdev as well. Your first comments, Tanya. It was always meant to be and going to be a tough final, but in the end, Pragyananda gave Magnus a good fight.
Yeah, it was a fantastic tournament, and what a performance by Prag. You're playing against world #1 Magnus in the final. I think getting there itself was such a huge journey and accomplishment. So despite how the final ended, one can't take away what a brilliant run Prag has had in this World Cup.
All right. Tanya, could I also ask you, because we were asking my colleague Shivani this. Shivani spoke to Vishwanath Anand a few hours ago, actually, and one of his big takeaways was that if you look at the way that Prague has performed, this is just the beginning for him. Do you have any comments there?
I mean, the last year, all of last year, and his breakout has been in that performance of the champion chesser when he took down Magnus Carlsen for the first time. Then we also saw his brilliant play at the Olympiad in Chennai, where he played a role in winning the medal for the country, and he won an individual medal as well. And absolutely, I mean, what Vishy is saying, you know, let's not forget that this is the first time that an Indian who's not Vishy Anand makes it to the candidates. And we have a hope to fight for the World Championship one more time. And it's going to be Prag who's going to try and win the candidates and then fight for the ultimate title. So in some ways, it's really the beginning of the biggest dream that every chess player has, which is to get to the candidates.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, Tanya. So I just want to ask you, talking about that candidates, the kind of experience that Pragyan has got under his belt in this championship or in this World Cup campaign and the previous tournaments that he has played. Vishy was also talking about that in the last 3 tournaments, he's really upped his game and he's right up there, even his rankings, even though his rankings may not suggest so, but technically he's playing on par with some of the best in the world. So do you think this competition is going to give him a lot of confidence as he looks forward to Candidates 2024?
Oh, 100%. And, you know, even recently the way he played in the Global Chess League, where he was actually part of the same team as Magnus. And he won every single game, taking down some of the biggest names. In this World Cup, he beat world number 3, he beat world number 2, both Hikaru and Fabi. He took down some of the strongest grandmasters in the world. And also against Magnus in the classical, both games ended in a draw. It wasn't meant to be the World Cup winner this time, but for sure, I think this shows that Prag is no more a prodigy or a talent or a potential. He's arrived and he's up there with the world's best.
Absolutely. Pragyan has arrived, and in fact, this 18-year-old has very quickly become the new face of Indian chess. What do you make of his journey?
Just phenomenal. I mean, at 18 to have this kind of achievement, this maturity, this composure, his unique ability to keep control over his nerves, his precise calculation when the clock is running really low, his ability to take risky decisions, play gutsy moves on the board against the very best in the world, and his champion's mindset of just being fearless against who he plays, regardless of who's sitting in front of him, taking down Hikaru Nakamura in playoffs, that epic battle he had against Arjun, winning against Fabiano Caruana, who's a former World Championship challenger. Yeah, it's been amazing to watch this last year and the kind of performances that Prag has put out.
Much attention has been paid in the last few weeks to the fact that there are a number of new young chess players in India that there's a lot of hope about. What is this going to mean for them, for the chess ecosystem? What are the takeaways?
Yeah, so you know, you've got Gukesh, who's the #1 Indian chess player right now. He's higher ranked than even Vishy Anand. There's obviously Arjun and also Vidit, who were part of the quarterfinals along with Pragyan at this event. So you know, this event, why it caught everybody's imagination and why it got, you know, so much coverage is because there were 4 Indians in the quarterfinals, and 2 of them, Pragyan had met Arjun, one of them, in the quarterfinals as well.
Welcome back. You're watching Viewpoint with me, Griha. Now, when former Union Minister and veteran Congress leader Shankar Aiyar describes PV Narasimha Rao as the first BJP Prime Minister of India, accusing him of leading the country from the quote-unquote secular path to a communal one, the curious question of whether the Congress endorses these claims arises. Speaking at the launch of his autobiography, Memoirs of a Maverick, the first 50 years between 1941 to 1991, the former diplomat has said that he discovered that Narasimha Rao was of a partisan and sectarian mind during a discussion with him on secularism. Now remember, Narasimha Rao served as the Prime Minister of India from 1991 to 1996. Although his term is usually associated with the initiation of economic liberalization reforms in 1991, it did see one of the most communal episodes in Indian history. That is the demolition of the Babri Masjid in Ayodhya on December 6, 1992. In the ensuing communal riots, thousands of lives were lost. That's not all. Aiyar's book also traces his observations during the anti-Sikh riots in 1984, where he goes on to question the government's decisions that were taken during that time. He has even gone on to say that he wanted to vote against Rajiv Gandhi because of the Sikh pogrom. The leader also bats for a dialogue with Pakistan in his memoir, claiming that it is crucial to end the demonization of Indian Muslims if that dialogue is started. But when it is about the uncloaked remarks against a former Congress Prime Minister, and that too in the presence of Sonia Gandhi, how big of a self-goal would that be for the Congress? Will the party have to suspend him a second time after that brief one in 2017 over his neech Aadmi remark against Prime Minister Narendra Modi just ahead of the Gujarat polls? Let's actually discuss that.
How Hindu-oriented PV Narasimha Rao was, and it foreshadowed how he would be sitting doing puja while the Babri Masjid was brought down. The first BJP Prime Minister of India was not Atal Bihari Vajpayee. The first BJP Prime Minister was Narasimha Rao.
The pen and the tongue may be of Shankar Aiyar, but the ideas and the objectives of the Gandhi family. He represents the Gandhi family as none other.
Now, what has happened after these statements were made by Shankar Aiyar? The BJP, of course, has come out all guns blazing at Aiyar, calling him a quote-unquote habitual offender. In fact, the BJP also goes on to allege that Shankar Aiyar is a crown jewel of the Gandhi family, and his comments really reflect the Congress's mindset. But before we delve deeper into those charges that have been made by the Bharatiya Janata Party, here's a timeline of events when Shankar Aiyar has shot from his mouth. If we take a look at the last year, 2022, he has hurled the Tukde jibe at the Sangh Parivar. He has gone on to claim that because of the Sangh Parivar, India is being divided on the basis of caste, creed and religion. 2018, he says that I get more love in Pakistan and hatred in India, once again showing his love for the neighbouring nation as opposed to his own country. 2017, he goes on to call Prime Minister Narendra Modi a neech Aadmi. Probably that was one comment that cost the Congress heavily as far as the Gujarat polls are concerned, and of course he was suspended from the party after that jibe. 2015, he asks Pakistan to remove Modi for the talks to resume between the two countries. I wonder how is Pakistan going to be instrumental in removing Prime Minister Narendra Modi from India, but that was the comment that Shankar had made that time. 2014, he ends up once again mocking Prime Minister Narendra Modi with the Chai Wala Baat, which he has been known to do as far as his association and his love-hate relationship with Prime Minister Narendra Modi is concerned. Let me now open this up for debate on the broadcast. Anila Singh and George Kurian continue to remain with us on the broadcast. NV Subhash, who is the grandson of the late PV Narasimha Rao, is also going to be joining us in a short while from now. But George Kurian, let me begin with you. Why make this comment in the first place? And is that the reason why the Congress party is avoiding this debate as well, considering this is a self-goal once again by a senior Congress leader?
Well, Graha, not really. I'm not here to defend Shankar Aiyar. He's free to talk about the series of events that has taken place in the past, but because he's launching his autobiography and the 50 years of from 1941 to 91. So I strongly believe that if there was any kind of a truth in what Mr. Aiyar is proclaiming at this point in time, he should have completed with his yatra, which he was supposed to start from Rameshwaram to Ayodhya. Why did he stop? Because today our former Prime Minister is not alive. for him to defend himself. So I don't want to get into that controversy at this point in time. So I want to say that Shankar Aiyar has been sidelined by the Congress party. He is not into any organizational roles or responsibilities. So he's free to go ahead and blubber and talk anything that he wishes to do at this point in time. So there is
so the Congress is distancing itself from the comments, is what you're saying?
No seriousness to what Mr. Aiyar is claiming that had happened in the past.
No, so is the Congress distancing itself? How do you feel the sentiments are within the Congress party over these comments?
Well, I believe that, as I said earlier, Shankar Aiyar's statement doesn't hold any importance for the Congress party, because he is just talking what he wants to sell his autobiography, I believe.
Okay. All right. Anila Singh, your response, considering BJP was quick to do an entire press conference on these statements that have been made, because the entire moniker of Mr. Rao being a BJP Prime Minister and the first one in India was in fact made. So BJP is quick to obviously take this in their stride and of course say that this is the ideology of the Congress. Isn't it too far-fetched? Because we have known, and you always have said that Shankar Aiyar has been known to shoot from his mouth. But why go ahead and call it a Congress's ideology?
My Ram to all, and Griha, we very well know that Shankar Aiyar, he is the poster boy of Indian National Confused Party.
How?
That is why he keeps on giving such statements. And we very well know that this particular family who thinks that they own in INC, they have never ever stopped him. When they are not stopping him.
But they suspended him in 2017. When they lost Gujarat polls, they suspended him briefly from the party. That was a crucial action that Congress party took against Mr. Shankar Aiyar. And we just heard the previous speaker, Mr. George Kurian, where he's also spoken about how he has been slightly sidelined from the main dynamics of the party.
Of course not. Just lip service is not going to work here.
Okay.
He is the one who keeps on saying different things, very derogatory words for our nation and for our Prime Minister as well. In foreign land. And we see the same thing from Rahul Gandhi's side as well. He goes to foreign countries and from there he keeps on giving derogatory statements for our nation, for our Prime Minister. And if I talk about Shankar Aiyar, I mean what not he has said about Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. I do not want to even repeat those words in those statements.
Okay.
He is criticizing his own PV Narasimha Rao, a person coming from his own political party who became the Prime Minister of this nation. He is criticizing that person. Why? The reason is appeasement politics. A person who can go to Pakistan and say, "Aap hame Modi ko hatane mein madad kariye. Hum aapke saath hain." This is the mindset of this person.
Okay.
So when he boasts, when he talks such crap things, I have never seen party stopping him. Why didn't they do some sort of press conference?
Okay.
With a drop of hat, Supriya Srinath, she keeps on doing press conferences. Why she has not done PC on this matter? Whatever he has said about PV Narasimha Rao.
Okay, I would let George Kurian answer that, but in just a bit, we have Mr. N.V. Subhash, who is the grandson of late PV Narasimha Rao, who's now joined us on the broadcast. Mr. Subhash, thank you so much for being with us this evening. I'd first like to understand from you, how hurtful did you find these comments by Mr. Shankar Aiyar that he made against your grandfather?
So the Congress party has always the agenda just to defame their own the leaders. You can see that from past many years, from 1947 till 1991, many of the Congress leaders who have really sacrificed their entire life for the benefit of the party and for the people of this country, the veterans especially, they have been ignored or deliberately ignored on that. So as far as Mr. Narasimha Rao is concerned, he was the first Prime Minister away from the Gandhi family, and then he was never a puppet like Dr. Manmohan Singh. He never listened to that. He wanted to do something better for the whole country. So there is nothing just wrong in it. So as far as Mr. Shankar Aiyar is concerned, what we see that he has become his master voice for the Gandhi family.
Okay.
Just to bring some kind of notice to the public that he is imagining that in the 2024 elections, maybe the Congress party will come into the power. As an autobiography, he has written something about Mr. Narasimha Rao in the presence of Miss Sonia Gandhi. So we think that this is an encouragement from the Gandhi family to defame Mr. Narasimha Rao, and on one issue or the other, after 19 years of his death also, this kind of issues has been haunting him, and as a family member, we condemn this kind of statements from the Congress party, especially on Mr. Aiyar, where he says that Mr. Narasimha Rao is a the communal person. He is a secular person. He has listened to everyone during his regime. The Babri Masjid has been demolished. That doesn't mean that he is the person responsible for it. He took all the collective measures, and then he took the consensus from the party of the Congress party, especially the Congress Working Committee, as well as the cabinet on that. But the blame is being targeted on Mr. Narasimha Rao, and the Bharatiya Janata Party now on the issue of the Babri Masjid is concerned. This issue has been settled. So where is the question of this issue again been breaking up, and then he was just targeting our family members on that in order to get some kind of votes on that.
Yeah.
We feel that Miss Sonia Gandhi, who was present there, should have really condemned on that.
Okay.
And then we are going to take a big issue about it in earlier cases also. One just every issue as far as Mr. Narasimha Rao is concerned, all the benefits have been given to Rajiv Gandhi and the Gandhi family. All the the things which have happened not in favor of the Congress party are being accounted on the Narasimha Rao's legacy on that.
Okay,
So
Mr.
this
Kurian,
kind
would you
of
like to respond to these claims that Mr. Subhash is making? And that's an important aspect that we need to discuss, considering he was the first non-Gandhi chief minister of the Congress regime that the country had seen. Is it become okay to lambast his tenureship as the prime minister? Because on the one hand, if Shankar Aiyar's book claims that there was the Babri Masjid demolition, or he had certain views about the country being majority, Hindu majority, and this entire yatra needs to be looked at from a different prism. On the other hand, we also need to understand that there was a Places of Worship Act 1991 that was also brought in under his regime. Why not laud that, considering he was wanting a communal harmony within the country, and that's why that entire act?
Well, Griha, I don't want to take anything away from Narasimha Rao ji's grandson here on the show, Mr. Subhash. He can keep his view on the show. Nothing wrong with it. I respect his views. But having said that, the Congress party has never sidelined Mr. Narasimha Rao's achievements, and the way he has functioned over the years as a Prime Minister of India under his leadership. The country has also economically grown, and with liberalization and things like that. And so I strongly believe that there is no need for the Congress party to do a press conference, as Ms. Anila Singh is saying on the show, because we don't give any much importance to Mr. Shankar Aiyar. You all know that, he's not holding any organizational roles or position within the party.
No, you already said that. But the other claim that the fellow panelists are making, Mr. George Kurian, is that all of these statements were made in the presence of Sonia Gandhi. Does that one consider it to be an endorsement by the Congress party that it's okay to go ahead and say anything against the late former Prime Minister of the country, Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao, and nobody from the senior leadership of the party is going to probably stop such a statement from being made?
Well, let me make it very clear to your audience that whatever Shankar Aiyar is actually going on talking about his autobiography, he's not talking on behest of the Congress party or the Gandhi family. Let me make it very clear on the show.
Yeah, those are his views.
Those are his personal views. Yes.
Okay. All right, Anila, would you like to respond to that, considering we don't have a member of the Congress party, but at least that's the common view that's coming in on behalf of the party, that these are his personal views, and that's why that memoir, it's an autobiography, for the launch of which he was speaking to a senior journalist, and because of that, in the process of that conversation, these claims were made. But there were other things that were discussed, like for that matter, Rajiv Gandhi. He also went on to say that he never wanted to vote for Rajiv Gandhi after what happened in 1984. Why not also take that to be an aspect and also discuss that? Why only pick and choose one particular part of this conversation that was made there?
He has called himself Maverick. All right. So you can very well understand that what type of statements he is going to make. But he is not a small child. But he's behaving like a spoiled teenager. The statements he's making, and I mean, this is obnoxious. कि बाबरी मस्जिद को ढह जाने दिया. That is why he is BJP's prime minister. Imagine the type of language he is using. He is insulting the sentiments of all the Hindus. I don't know how he is sitting so calmly.
Okay.
If he has done something like this for one particular religion, we very well know कि अभी तक तो इनके खिलाफ फतवे जारी हो चुके होते. But the thing is, his own party, his own political party has not said anything against him. So he is free to say whatever he wants to say. तारीफों के पुल भी तो बांधे ना इन्होंने इस परिवार के लिए. So it is a you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. तुम ऐसे बोलते रहो, आप ऐसे कुछ भी बोलते रहो, हम कुछ नहीं, हम बोल देंगे अरे.
Last point, Mr. Subhash. Mr. Subhash wants to come in and make that last point. Mr. Subhash, just the fact that all of this is being discussed, but the Congress party is completely keeping itself away from this entire conversation, not wanting to comment. How do you read that body language by the Congress?
I just want to make one statement here, if you allow me.
Yeah, please, quickly, Anila.
The only mistake Mr. Narasimha Rao did was that he got Places of Worship Act 1991.
Okay, all
that
right.
was a
all right,
step.
okay. NV Subhash, please.
Yeah, see, I would have really appreciated if someone from the Congress party, since we have the president other than from the Gandhi family, should have given some kind of statement on that. I feel that still, as on today, the switch is in the hands of the Congress,
all right.
the Gandhi family.
Okay, Mr. NV Subhash, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry to interrupt you. I'd like to thank all my guests. We've got some breaking news on the broadcast. We have to cut to that. Now, the Indian Space Research Organization has confirmed that all the systems of Chandrayaan-3 are normal. All the activities are right on schedule. In fact, ISRO has put out this tweet that the lander module, the payload ILSA, the Rambha, and also every other aspect of Chandrayaan-3 are pretty much chased and they are turned on today. In fact, the rover Pragyan, its mobility operations have also commenced, and the shape payload on the propulsion module, in fact, is also being turned on. This will be turned on this Sunday. So all of that positive sort of information that's come out as by way of this ISRO tweet, and we are all set to get in the first images from the south pole of the moon. My colleague Harish Upadhyay has more details. Yes, Harish.
Well, there are 5 payloads on the surface of moon. 3 on the lander module have started their scientific experiments.
Okay.
The rover is moving around on the surface of the moon. There are 2 payloads on the rover that will largely study the chemical composition and the element composition of the lunar surface. Those 2 experiments or those 2 payloads are yet to start. In fact, earlier in the day, Mr. Somnath told us that they would wait for the rover to move around a bit, move slightly away from the lander before those experiments begin. And the shape payload that's on the propulsion module that's going around the orbit of moon, which is looking at Earth from the orbit of moon, has already started, in fact, capturing the data from Sunday itself. So, in a way, the science bit of it, or the scientific experiments, have been kicked off. Only 2 more modules are yet to be put into job. That perhaps will happen in the coming day or 2.
All right, Harish, thank you so much for all of those details. So the good news that started from August 23rd when Chandrayaan-3 made a soft landing on the south pole of the lunar surface. That good news continues as things are going as planned, as per this ISRO tweet. We leave it at that. That's it from me on Viewpoint. My colleague Shivani is up next with Plain Speak.
Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. After 3 days and 4 games of intense chess across 2 formats, Magnus Carlsen has finally managed to win the FIDE World Cup for the first time in his career. He defeated India's Pragyan in the final. The 18-year-old teenage prodigy who dragged the world #1 Carlsen through to the tiebreaker after 2 classical games ended in a draw. Regardless